Kaufberg, and welcome to the world of Vacheron Constantin. Today, I'll be your guide to the proper usage and care of your Vacheron Constantin Historiques 1942. Now, this is a manually wound timepiece. You note the lack of case-back winding rotor that is wound with the crown in its first position, as seen here, flush to the case. Turn the crown 20 to 30 turns to start the movement. You'll note that the movement is beating when you see the seconds hand advancing at 6 o'clock, or the balance on the case back is operating. Now, continue turning in a clockwise direction. It'll be several dozen turns before you begin to feel a rapid ramping up of resistance. This is the point at which you need to stop forcing the crown. The watch is fully wound to its 65-hour power reserve, and attempting to force the crown past the point of distinct resistance can damage the timepiece. So when you feel resistance, your watch is wound. Now, by pulling the crown out and turning it in a clockwise direction, you can advance the hours and the minutes. Take note, the calendar is actuated in intuitive fashion using pusher adjusters on the case flank that conform to the location of the functions they adjust. For instance, you can see at 1:30, I adjust the disc for the month. At 10 o'clock, I adjust the disc for the day. And then at 4:30, I adjust the radial pointer style date. It's important that these functions never be actuated between the hours of 8 p.m. and 4 a.m., as this is the danger zone. The danger zone is the period when the watch is automatically jumping the day, the date, and the month. So when it is engaged, never use the pusher adjusters. If you must quick set any of the calendar functions, make sure you roll the watch manually by turning the crown and setting the hour and the minutes all the way through the midnight changeover and past 4 a.m. prior to use of any of the case side pusher adjusters. Now, there are three areas of hazard with respect to the handling of your watch that you need to keep in mind: water, magnetism, and shock. Now, water is quite possibly the greatest danger to any fine timepiece. If it's introduced to the interior of the case, it will cause catastrophic mechanical and cosmetic damage. Now, it's best to simply avoid exposing a dress timepiece to water, because although this timepiece is water resistant to a static test depth of 30 meters, leather, as featured in the strap, is a natural porous material that is never water resistant. Therefore, should it become wet, immediately dry it. And generally, best practice is to keep it remote from sources of liquid. Now, 30 meters water resistance is practically sufficient to protect the watch from accidental splashing, or, for instance, if you're caught out in a rainstorm, but not for submergence or aquatic activities. It's important to avoid accidental drowning. Disuse any of the pusher adjusters and neither turn nor use the crown for setting, not just while the watch is submerged, but even while there is water on the case, as attempting to set the calendar, wind, or set the time on a wet watch can bypass the case seals and introduce water to its interior. Finally, water resistance is not a static feature of a timepiece, so Vacheron Constantin recommends on an annual basis having the watch taken to an authorized service center for a routine dry test of its water resistance. Now, it's also important to keep magnetism and the threat it poses to your watch firmly in mind. It can't cause the permanent damage that water can, but it can cause highly erratic running in the form of either very fast or very slow operation of the watch. Keep the watch remote from high-powered wiring looms, refrigerator doors, the closures of wallets and purses, MRI equipment, speakers, and subwoofers, as all of these can magnetize the ferrous hairspring at the center of your watch's balance, effectively its heartbeat. Now, if you suspect due to erratic running, fast or slow, that your watch has become magnetized, take it to an authorized service center of Vacheron Constantin, where specialized equipment is available to quickly and easily demagnetize your watch. Concussion and shock are perhaps more sinister threats to your timepiece, because while magnetism can be reversed, concussion and shock can both alter the timing of your watch and cause sufficient damage to stop it permanently. Therefore, as a precaution, ensure the watch is disused while riding ATVs or mountain bikes, during firearms marksmanship, and during concussive activities such as batting, tennis, and golf. Ultimately, every fine mechanical timepiece requires a periodic comprehensive service per Vacheron Constantin every 4 to 5 years. Now, it's best to have the total condition of your watch checked during your annual water test at an authorized service center. A comprehensive service will replace a worn strap, restore factory case finish to the metal, restore factory water resistance to the timepiece as a whole, and clean, oil, and adjust the movement to restore its chronometric precision. This should be performed solely at an authorized service center where specialized tools, trained personnel, and original factory replacement parts are available to preserve the value of your watch as both instrument and as investment. Moreover, only these agencies can back all labor and parts invested with a Vacheron Constantin factory service warranty. As a final note of precaution, recall that whenever actuating the pusher adjusters on the flanks of the case, always take note to use the pusher adjuster tool included with the watch. This is the surest way to avoid both damage to the mechanism and marring of your case finish. Visit our website at govbergwatches.com and call, text, or email our experts who will be happy to walk you through every phase of the ownership and care of this or any Vacheron Constantin fine Swiss timepiece.